the figures are squishy. Nobody knows whether there's 1.2, 1.5, 1.6 or 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. This is a broad and diverse community. You cannot say all Muslims this, all Muslims that. It's simply wrong. And it's certainly wrong to label all Australian Muslims with the tar of the brush of Hizb ut-Tahrir and the aggressive, I call them aggressive, conquistadore Islamic jihadis. That's the sort of strongest label that I use for these people who either use violent aggression or very strong aggressive policies in order to Islamify our country. So we need to defy this of pointing out to Australians that the 90% plus, I think, in Australia, I call them Aussie Muslims, have been here for as long as most of Australia has. We all know that the Ghan train, for instance, is named after the Afghans. I've played 8-ball with Afghan people up at Lee Creek and the old Lee Creek. These people, the first mosque in Australia was at Maree, for goodness sake. And these ordinary Aussie Muslims have never been a problem to us, and we haven't been a problem to them. They're part of the furniture. But we need to make a clear distinction between those people and those who are anti-democracy, anti-constitution, who fail to determine human rights in accordance with how we do it. There are some just abhorrent things, and I refuse to respect them, and I say it's perfectly proper to ridicule and vilify what they say. And I say that's protected by the Australian Constitution. The Federal Court of Australia handed down a decision back in November in which it was confirmed that in political discourse in Australia, insult and offence is par for the course. So I don't rail against people who insult me, and I guess a long way of coming around to your question is how do I answer it. In radio shows and interviews, when people say you're a bigot, I say, please tell me one thing it is that you say that I've said that could be interpreted in that way. If I'm called a racist, well, obviously Islam's not a race. Please tell me one thing that I've ever said that you could interpret as racist. You call me xenophobic? How can you say, just show me something that you say that I've said that fears foreigners or fears Islam unreasonably for that matter?